So I have no idea this kind of sacrifices they've made for us because they don't talk about them very much. It's sort of, I think they just thought that's what you do.
So my dad's side of the family traces itself back to this French guy who married a Dutch woman and then came over to the US. My mom's side of the family, my grandmother and grandfather came over from China.
I was born here in Oregon, in the US, but my parents immigrated here from the Philippines about 20 years ago.
My mom's side of the family is from eastern Idaho. My dad's side of the family is from northern Utah. Their parents is the generation that immigrated to the United States. So they came from Japan originally. The way we count it, it's on the third generation in the United States. So.
My family is from Vietnam, and after the war happened, we were supporters of the South, and so that side lost, and so my family had to immigrate to the U.S. I was born in Portland.
So my father is white. He's completely like full American. He was born in the U.S. My mom is from Laos. She immigrated over here around the age she was 4. Ended up having to go back to Laos for a little bit of time for medical reasons, and then was able to come back.
People who have done everything they can to help be there for each other, no matter what that situation is, because at the end of the day, that's who you have to fall back on.
There are certain people you can sort of just trust, help you out almost no matter what.
Support. It doesn't need to be exclusive to like blood relatives. I think you can find family within your friend group, family within your community at work or at school.
No matter if it's your actual blood relatives or if it's your friends or anything like that, family are the people you can go to as some sort of a safe haven. They can help you with your problems, they can help you work them out, and just overall just be there for you when you really need it.
I think family means different things at different points in my life. Usually family means my parents and my 2 brothers and my sister and the people that I grew up with. And now, since I've been working at Oregon State, it means lots of other people I'm not like blood related to, but we've spent a lot of time together and know each other really well, so that's family too.
My mom is definitely very explicit with like, she'll like hug me all the time. She's just really into sort of big signs of affection. She felt her parents weren't that. She was like the youngest daughter, and in Chinese culture it's always like the first son. In some ways she always, I guess, tries to compensate for that.
I tell my parents I love them. They tell me they love me. Love is shown pretty explicitly in my family. Also through like the little things. When I go home on the weekends to visit my parents, and my dad will cook me without even asking like my favorite Filipino dish. Or my mom will, out of nowhere just say like, hey Abby, you want to go get boba? Family is just such a huge aspect of the culture. It's really one of like the core aspects of Filipino identity.
I was talking to my mom on the phone and I was getting ready to hang up and she said, I love you. And I was like flabbergasted. Are you okay? Are you sick or something? Because she had never said that before. Even though I and my siblings are 3rd generation, there's still a lot of stuff that's left over that my parents learned from their parents about how you raise a family and how you interact with people. Showing physical affection is not big on our list. We might like punch each other or something like that. But and saying I love you is not a big deal. But people know, because if somebody's sick, we show up and things like that.
When I first decided to take music very seriously, like as a musical artist and as a producer on my own accord, the first time I ever decided to perform live on a serious level was back in my sophomore year of high school. It took a lot of guts for me and just a lot of confidence just to get out there in the first place. And being terrified as I was, I didn't feel like I had a lot of support. When I got out on stage and I saw my entire family there, sitting with the rest of my friends, it just gave me the confidence. It's like, I can actually do this for once, and I can keep on doing this if I really wanted to. And so far today, it's still stuck with me, and I'm still going with it.
The good stuff is that they place high expectations on me, which made me want to keep doing well and to be able to reach those and further in my education and just how I held myself as an individual. Everyone looks to me as a leader and things like that because of who I am in that sense. But there's this other side where my family kept me very closed off and very sheltered just because I am a woman, not go out because the world is so dangerous and apparently I could die as I walk out the door. So being that sheltered, I wasn't very good with my social skills. Not to say I didn't have friends, but just I never got to hang out with them, do sleepovers, just all those things that you hear growing up in school that you're supposed to hang out with all your friends, go to the mall, things like that. I never got that kind of childhood.
I didn't realize I internalized till much later was that sort of idea of face and honor, I guess. I think in some ways it kept me from doing a lot of things because it's like I don't want to show sort of dishonor to people or disgrace myself. I think that kept me from doing a lot of things that in the US are sort of expected of teenagers or college students. The other way is they have definitely pushed me to be way more sort of academically successful than I probably would be otherwise. My mom didn't even get to go to college, and they never let me sort of sit back on my laurels, and they always pushed me forward.
When I was a junior and a senior, I think at that time I was really starting to sort of realize my path. My beliefs about certain things were changing, and they weren't really aligning up with my parents anymore. And that was a really tough time for me and my relationship with my parents, because for the first time in my life, I was disagreeing with my parents on some things, and it was coming at a time where I was getting ready to go to college and, move out. I tried to think about it as in my parents really laid a foundation for me to grow and to discover things on my own, and I was finally doing that. So I was ready to tell them, Mom and Dad, we don't agree on a lot of things anymore, but I need you to respect that because I am my own individual. That was a really hard conversation to have with them, but it was important because, now I feel like I'm closer to my parents than I was ever before.
At one point, my older brother and I were in college at the same time, and my younger brother and I were in college. I was in grad school, and he was in college, getting his bachelor's degree at the same time. I asked my dad, what was that like to have two kids in college at the same time? Because he never said anything. My mom never said anything. They're just how'd you do in school, and what'd you learn in college, and you have some friends, and things like that. They never said a word about what their lives were like, and I was 18 or whatever, and I didn't pay attention to things like that. But I asked them later, I said, what was that like having two kids in college at the same time? And my dad sort of offhand said, it was like eating nails. I thought, wow, I had no idea the amount of sacrifice they made without ever saying anything to us to make us feel guilty or anything like that.
When I think of sacrifices, the first that comes to mind is usually them making their way from Vietnam after the war to here. The struggle of trying to be in a new culture, be in a new country, in a place that you barely know anything about, you don't even know the language. Basically for me, I felt like every time I step outside the house, I'm being Americanized, and coming back home is being in Vietnam itself, and trying to find the balance between the two, and my parents trying to keep their culture alive within their kids, but then realizing that there is this wall that they hit.
On top of immigrating to this country, both of my parents made a lot of sacrifice for me and my siblings. Both my parents worked really hard, and my dad specifically, when he first came here, he was washing dishes and taking out the trash. At the time, my dad didn't have a car, and so he would walk to work, and he would walk across freeways through the rain or through snow, or even if it was really hot outside. He was working to provide for his family.
I guess if I could tell them one thing, it'd just be like, I would hope that we can sort of stay as close as we are.
I think that I also haven't said how much I appreciate how much they support me. You know, my parents certainly support me all the way through, but also my siblings. And even whether it was teasing or making fun of or all those kinds of things that you do with your brothers and sisters, I still knew it was support, and that whatever I chose to do, they were going to be supportive.
I'm growing up just fine. This worry that they have of me growing up and getting ready for life, which is definitely expected. You know, they're your parents and things like that. I mean, if they hear this, they're still gonna worry anyways. I just want them to know that like everything's gonna be okay, and that, you know, I'm definitely well off and everything's gonna be fine.
You guys are the entire reason why I've have and have done anything that I feel is a success in my life. You guys have impacted me in such a way that I can't be grateful enough for. I love you guys, and I don't say that enough. You guys have done so much that you may not think, but in the long run, it's actually helped me out entirely, and it's formed me to who I am today.
I am the student leader and activist that I am today because you taught me how to be determined, how to be brave, how to see the right things and what is wrong, and how to challenge those. I hope that you're proud of me and who I am today and who I will be in the future.